Welcome to Phase 3, the final phase of Pokémon Survivor Season 1. Last we left it, we saw all players merge into one final tribe where they all have access to the final 6 Pokémon. Before every single game, they will roll a die to determine the order in which they get to choose Pokémon. Now there are only 3 games remaining, which means 3 more opportunities to gain any points to come back or hold the lead. Who's gonna have the strongest advantage come the finale? Get ready for the final phase of Pokémon Survivor. Game number 13. All together now. In this challenge, each player was given 3 minutes to congratulate our final 6 by merging them into one Super Pokémon. They'll each get a chance to pitch their Pokémon, and the winner will be decided by best concept overall, not just looks. After deciding order, these are the Pokémon stepping forward for each player. Let's see what they came up with. Peter, first, please explain your Pokémon.
Alright, I call him Slurp. That is the first letter of every name in the order of the list that you sent us.
Alright, awesome.
I wanted him to be a little boy, because the majority of our guys are little boys. I gave him a high defense body of that red Shuckle shell and those Phalanx armor plates. He's got that septile head shape, tipped off with those cute little honey-glazed ears, as well as the snoot. We've also got the Phalanx mohawk coming back to return. Rocking the body color, we got the Raichu William orange, as well as that inflated neck sack that William's got. And just to wrap it all in, we've got that Raichu tail.
You really managed to capture everybody. Next up, we have Josh.
Yeah! I decided to boil it down to the simplest elements of what each Pokemon represents. And that's where Rat Kingmon comes in. I decided to take each Pokemon, so as you can see, you got Tatsugiri, which is the nasty-looking fish. Raichu is obviously the mouse. Shuckle is the nasty-looking toad, but it's got a shell. The next one is Sceptile, and I just thought Sceptile reminded me of a praying mantis. Then obviously Lechonk is a pig. I mean, there's no getting around it. Next one is the Caterpillar, and that's Phalanx, because if you can see, you see all the little legs. Phalanx each has 2 legs on each section, and if you can look, you can see the sections are kind of divided up.
This is amazing. And lastly, we have Will. Please explain your Pokemon.
This is Hand of Shuckle. He has a special ability called Eldritch Horror. Upon entering combat, 30% chance the opposing Pokemon to just die. This is if Shuckle pulled his toes in and instead put out his fingers.
Yay.
You can see that instead of all the toes of Shuckle, you can see up on the top right, there's Sceptile, and then there's our little pig right below him, and then there's the little Raichu, and then Tatsugiri's looking a little deflated there, but I was running out of time. And then Phalanx is hard to do because Phalanx doesn't normally have a neck, but I gave him one.
Holy cow. Okay, I've made a decision, and I need it to be clear. It's really hard because these are 3 that perfectly captured what I wanted you guys to capture in different ways. Just barely. First place, I'm giving to Will for his Shuckle idea. I adore the concept. Night 13. After winning that last challenge, Toejuice was granted immunity from tonight's votes. However, before going into votes, Will had an interesting plea for the group.
Looking at your guys's, I don't think that Lechonk or Raichu or Tatsugiri or Phalanx are any of your guys's like top 2. That's my guess.
What?
So I will let you guys know. Sceptile is my number 1 and Shuckle is my number 4. I'm just going to throw that out there.
I would have thought Shuckle would have been your number 1. I'm going to be real with you.
I really would have thought that as well.
I shuffled them, and also Sceptile was my first starter I ever played with.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I am perfectly fine with killing off Sceptile if it means that no one else gets to benefit off of his points, because I've racked in a bunch of points from him so far.
Will's plan was to take a huge target off of Toejuice's back, making him look like both less of a threat as well as less of a favorable choice for his opponents. And it worked. Josh and Peter both voted for Skeptical. Will, on the other hand, still targeting one of their Pokemon, voted for William. All votes are in. The 13th Pokemon voted out of Pokémon Survivor Season 1 is... Skeptical. Game number 14, Stolen Identity. In this challenge, each player will see 5 rounds of 3 Pokemon and 3 Pokedex entries. Now, each Pokedex entry is a real Dex entry, but one of them belongs to an entirely different Pokemon. Each player would get 1 point for correctly guessing the incorrect Pokemon, and 2 total points if they could also correctly guess which Pokemon that Dex entry is supposed to belong to. After deciding the order, these are the Pokemon stepping forward for everybody. There's also going to be a 5-second timer before revealing every answer, so you can play along as well. Let's see what happens. Number 1. One of these Dex entries belongs to a different Pokemon. Carnivine. Using its tentacles to lash itself to trees, it lies in wait for prey, luring it close with sweet-smelling drool. Luminion. To avoid detection by predators, it crawls along the seafloor using the 2 fins on its chest. Cherubi. It sucks moisture from the tree while hanging off the branch. The more water it drinks, the glossier this Pokemon's body becomes. All answers are in. The correct answer here is Cherubi's belongs to Seedot.
That makes sense.
It's a good one.
Number 2, Nidorina. When feeding its young, it first chews and tenderizes the food, then spits it out for the offspring. Vivillon. The wings are protected by rain-repellent dust. As a result, this Pokemon can fly about even in the rain. Seal. The protrusion on its head is very hard. It is used for bashing through thick ice. All answers are in. The correct answer for number 2 is Vivillon is actually Butterfree.
Oh, I was close.
All right, fair enough.
I said Dustox because dust.
Number 3, Venonat. The fur on its body naturally repels water. Espeon. Its fur has the look and feel of velvet. Shinx. All of its fur dazzles if danger is sensed. All answers are in. The correct answer for number 3 is Venonat is actually Marill.
Oh, yes, look at all that fur.
Yeah.
Right.
Number 4, Octillery. Once it takes aim at its enemy, it blasts out water with even more force than a fire hose. Tailo. They migrate to other lands in search of warmth, flying over 180 miles a day. Diglett, a Pokemon that lives underground. Because of its dark habitat, it is repelled by bright sunlight. Okay, all answers in. The correct answer for number 4, Octillery, is actually Blastoise.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Last one, number 5, Venusaur. A bewitching aroma wafts from its flower. The fragrance becalms those engaged in a battle. Metapod. Almost incapable of moving, this Pokemon can only harden its shell to protect itself when it is in danger. Spearow. It flaps its small wings busily to fly. Using its beak, it searches in grass for prey. All final answers are in. The correct answer for number 5, Metapod, is actually Kakuna. Last place in this game, Peter had 1 point.
Wow.
Hey, Peter.
First place in this challenge with 3 points.
Oh my gosh.
3? It's only 3?
Wow. What?
Second place got 2. So it was a 1, 2, 3. First place goes to Will. So once again, Shuckle is safe.
No way.
Night 14. Once again, Toejuice is immune from the votes tonight. Will voted for Tippy Tap Zip Zap, now fully believing that he must be one of the strongest remaining opponent Pokemon. Josh and Peter, on the other hand, voted for Honey Glazed Boy, hoping to get rid of one of the weakest remaining Pokemon in hopes to have more point scoring opportunities. All votes are in. The 14th Pokemon voted out of Pokémon Survivor Season 1 is... Honey Glazed Boy. Game number 15, Poke Bachelor. In this final challenge, each player will answer 6 dating show questions in the personality of the Pokemon that they have stepped forward. The winner will be decided by the person with the most best answers. After deciding order, these are the Pokemon stepping forward for everybody. Let's see who makes the final 3. Thank you for playing Poke Bachelor. I've got 6 questions for my contestants, and I'll ask each one of you individually. Do you believe in love at first sight? Contestant number 1, Josh.
Well, I do believe things can come fast, so I think it can be quite electric.
Contestant number 2.
I'm gonna be real. I don't feel like love at first sight is real. I want to find the perfect love for me. I want to find someone that really knows how to comfort me and bring me out of my shell. I've got that defense up high, and I need someone to bring those down.
Contestant number 3, Will.
Hey, it's me, Tatsugiri. I don't really know what that is. I'm just in it for a quick bang, you know what I'm saying?
What's the weirdest dream you've had? Contestant number 1.
I can't remember it. I don't know, honestly. It was pretty fast.
Contestant number 2.
Weirdest dream I had was I had this wet dream. I had this one night stand with this Tatsugiri guy. He had a really strong accent. I woke up in a cold sweat and couldn't sleep for 3 days after that.
Contestant number 3.
I one time had this dream that I did exactly what contestant number 2 said right there, and then when I woke up, I actually did it.
Okay. Who's your celebrity crush? Contestant number 1.
Ryan Reynolds, 100%. It's gotta be. It's gotta be Ryan Reynolds.
Contestant number 2.
Oh god, it's gotta be The Rock. That rock hard body makes my rock hard body rock hard.
Contestant number 3.
Just like me and my unknown dragon type, I think the lead singer of Imagine Dragon would be my choice.
What's your biggest fear? Contestant number 1.
Not being shocked. I don't like not being in a state of constant electricity.
Contestant number 2.
I'm just terrified that one day my toes are gonna run out of juice.
And contestant number 3.
My biggest fear is that I'll get made into a titan and I still won't even be that big.
Where would we go on a first date? Contestant number 1.
Laser tag, 100%. We're going to laser tag. I think that is the most fantastic place to fall in love.
Contestant number 2.
I'm gonna take you out to the old spaghetti factory for a nice pasta dinner, and then we're gonna come back to my box.
Contestant number 3.
We'll start out with some sushi and then maybe we'll go to the Rolex store and I can buy you something pretty.
What matters most to you in a relationship? Contestant number 1.
That eventually we can end up in a home with 2 small kids and that they can love us eternally and help us with stuff around the house while our love grows and grows until we end up on a porch, rocking our chairs, sipping our tea together, knowing that we lived a good life.
What are you, a bitch?
Contestant number 2.
I need a second after that one. Well, I'm Fuckle. I'm here to shuckle, and the most important thing to me in a relationship is protection. I want a sturdy home.
And lastly, contestant number 3.
Just making sure nobody gets in the way of my grind.
Okay. Okay, I've taken everybody's answers into account, and there is a winner. The winner of my heart and the winner of the last challenge is Peter.
Yeah.
What?
Toadjuice
Let's go.
pulls it out.
Great answers.
That being said, boys, Shuckle once again earns immunity into the final 3. Night 15, the final night, and Toadjuice wins immunity again. Truly an amazing run by that Pokemon. He glides into the final 3 effortlessly. But which 2 Pokemon will join him in the final 3? And will they help anybody with a comeback win? I'm not going to hold you in suspense for too long, because the votes for the final elimination were unanimous. All votes are in. The 15th and final Pokemon voted out of Pokémon Survivor Season 1 is... Wombo Combo. This brings us to the finale. The final 3 are Toadjuice, Tippy-Tap Zip-Zap, and William. Somehow, 1 Pokemon from each original tribe managed to make it to the final 3. As one last hurrah, each player will receive 1 last point buff from their Pokemon that made it to the final 3. No fan favorites made it to the final 3, so nobody gets additional points for anything to do with fan favorites. Here's how the finale works. Over the course of the season, each player won points every time they won a challenge. Those points equate to votes. Those votes put their name on a wheel that many times. That final wheel spin determines who walks away the winner of Pokémon Survivor Season 1. The third most, with 41 votes, goes to Josh. The second most, with 43 votes, goes to Peter. And finally, the most votes, 47 votes, goes to Will. A tight point race all the way to the end, and even though somebody may have more votes than somebody else, nothing is for sure. For the final time this season, all votes are in, and the first ever winner of Pokémon Survivor Season 1 is... Tippy Tap Zip Zap. What an amazing comeback after being outnumbered by Toadjuice in nearly every category. Tippy Tap Zip Zap pulls off the comeback win. Thank you so much for watching this. This was a huge passion project that took forever to put together. Thank you so much to my friends for participating in it. Thank you Tippy Tap Zip Zap for being the first winner of us ever doing this. I'd happily do this again. It just takes a very long time. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. And hey, goodbye forever.